This is Part 2 Episode 183. When the battle first began, Luo Feng was still testing out the power of each of his new blade techniques. Hence, he never once unleashed his strongest strike travel movement. Thus it seemed like he was forced into a corner by the 12 Undyings. However, that environment allowed him to maximize the usage of his blade work to fight back. Once he unleashed his strike travel, he easily destroyed the Ka Wu Undying. Blood River Energy. Strike travel movement. Luo Feng didn't wish to drag the battle on any longer. His image warped as 3 incredibly realistic images appeared beside him. It caused the 12 Undyings to get shocked as the difficulty of surrounding grew. They began to get knocked away from Luo Feng's attacks, and being forced to attack individually. The blood shadow blade pierced forward and a huge cavity appeared in the space. Countless fragments flowed madly, as he pierced straight at the beautiful Starlight Undying's forehead. Dutchman's Pipe. Luo Feng's blade was like lightning. He flashed forward. One Eternal Dragon Undying was instantly sliced in half. Dutchman's Pipe. Pensive. Nightmare. Reflection. Burial. Hatred. World's End. He exchanged between the 7 techniques. Even though they were helping each other, combined with his exquisite movement and the help of the Blood River energy, he managed to fight back against all 12 of the Undyings, and was even able to slash one of them apart while they were still being covered by the rest of them. They were beginning to fall apart. It was very obvious, they were losing and were being suppressed. Not good, the Starlight life thread is broken. The Starlight Undying communicated urgently. The life thread wasn't supposed to appear for too long in the first place. Star-eating plant. Luo Feng smiled widely. The Undying plant madly expanded and spread over 100,000 kilometers. Countless leaves twitched about like teeth and wrapped around the Undyings. The 12 of them roared and madly attacked the Undying plant, making it shrink back once again. However, as they were distracted with attacking the Undying plant, the disadvantaged Undyings naturally welcomed their first tragedy. Rumble. Rumble. 2 Eternal Dragon Undyings were instantly torn to shreds by Luo Feng. Their torn fragments were immediately swallowed by the Star-eating plant. His blade flashed past brutally. As the 2 Eternal Dragons were torn apart, the scene immediately caused the other Undyings to try and stop Luo Feng. They were very clear that if they focused on the plant, they would slowly lose more and finally fall. The moment some of them were heavily injured, they wouldn't even be able to hold back the Star-eating plant anymore, and it would swallow all of them. Let's go. Quickly flee, disperse. The Undyings knew that the battle would get worse for them as it dragged on. They barely saved one of the Eternal Dragon Undyings before fleeing immediately. The Undying plant was already swallowing one Undying. Flee. Luo Feng glanced as the 11 Undyings fled in 11 different directions. He had no choice but to pick one. Forget it, I'll chase you. Luo Feng waved at the Star-eating plant and simultaneously unleashed his strike travel. Within 3 flashes, his speed reached sub-light speed and rushed at the unlucky Undying, the sturdy Ka-Wu Undying, the first one that he actually slashed in half. Why me? The Ka-Wu Undying Long Suo was angry and worried. Stop there. Luo Feng expanded his world projection. What projection was this? An internal world projection. It was a projection of his internal world outside. Normal sector lords could expand their projection up to about 10,000 kilometers. Luo Feng's projection, at its greatest limit, was however, able to reach 90 million kilometers. However, if he did so, it would be like broadcasting to everybody my internal world has a diameter of 90 million kilometers. Hence he would never do so. After all, the Ka-Wu Undying he was facing was only a few 100,000 kilometers away from him. Stop there. Luo Feng unleashed his world projection. It instantly engulfed the Ka-Wu Undying Long Suo. World projection. Long Suo was surprised. He felt the powerful force around him. He could still fly, but his speed had a definite decrease. The Star-eating plant swiftly caught up from behind. The undying plant once again bloomed with countless gold leaves covering the entire area. Naturally it engulfed Long Suo too. With countless teeth surrounding him, it made him madly flail his thunder hammers about. Rumble. The leaves withstood each attack. The gold leaves automatically opened a path and Luo Feng entered, appearing before the tall and sturdy Ka Wu Undying. Human. Long Suo was shocked and angry, but he knew it was over. You cannot kill me, you cannot kill me. The Ka Wu Undying let out sounds of worry and pain, causing the surrounding space to shake. I cannot kill you. Luo Feng smiled coldly. Ah, give me a reason. Are you a disciple or relative of some Ka Wu knight? Would I be punished if I killed you? Doesn't seem right. If you had some background, you couldn't possibly not have any treasure at all. I. Long Suo howled urgently, the official level Undying, the one you call Boulder, is my senior. Boulder of the 12 officials, he is your senior. Luo Feng scoffed. Indeed, there was a renowned Ka Wu official Undying named Boulder. Very good. Very, very good. Luo Feng nodded. Long Suo's eyes had some hope. Even though he was incredibly huge and this human before him was but a dot, he was clear that this little dot had enough power to kill him easily. Then you deserve to die even more. Luo Feng flashed and his blood shadow blade slashed through space, leaving a huge tear in space. Howl. The beast god projection appeared, its claws seemed to meld perfectly with the blade as it passed Long Suo, causing him to howl in despair. As the blade reached him, he wanted to self-destruct, but his body was instantly reduced to shreds before it could happen. His self-destruct naturally failed as countless gold leaves swiftly swallowed the countless rock fragments. There was an ancient palace in the burning deserts of Fog Island. No one knew when it was actually built. A majestic 12-meter-tall Ka Wu Undying was sitting in the throne. He was one of the 12 officials of Fog Island, Fen Ya, also known by the human Undyings as Boulder. On Fog Island, he was one of the strongest. He suddenly received a distress signal from his little brother Long Suo. Long Suo. This Ka Wu Undying stood up abruptly. However, immediately after he received a message, it's the Star-Eating Sector Lord, avenge me. After which, there was no more signal no matter how he tried to contact him. Long Suo is dead. Fen Ya's eyes were enraged. Star-Eating Sector Lord, Star-Eating Sector Lord. Human, I want you dead, I want you dead. He howled, and it resounded throughout the entire palace. He was furious. Even though they weren't blood brothers, they both came from the same tribe, and only one other Ka Wu clansman from the same generation had become Undying with him, that was Long Suo. Hence the two of them naturally explored together, and they both received orders from the upper race, reach the distant Bug clan territory, and enter the outer region wars. On Fog Island, Fen Ya was invincible, Long Suo followed closely behind him. Hence, Fen Ya let Long Suo join up with his other teams. Star-Eating Sector Lord. Fen Ya grit his teeth. Undying Star-Eating Plant. It may strike fear in the generals, however 100-vine Undying Star-Eating Plant didn't even bother a true official level Undying. You should die. You will die. He howled, suddenly his eyes gleamed. Spirit imprint. That's mine. I gave an item to Long Suo and now that is dead, would that human actually take it with him? If he dared to, he's really looking to die. He immediately sensed for his spirit imprint. He rushed into the skies and tore through thousands of kilometers of the desert, after which he swiftly took a ship to head towards where he felt the imprint was. After swallowing the Undying Star-Eating Plant shrank and entered Luo Feng's arm. Special item. Luo Feng carried the 2 world rings. The Ka Wu Undying's special item was within one of them. Luo Feng, he said that his senior was the official Boulder, and Boulder is on Fog Island. It's most likely that Boulder left him a spirit imprint item, so that he could come help at any time. This item would very likely be within this bunch of stuff. Barbata said. Luo Feng flipped his hand and kept both world rings. Having it is good. Luo Feng smiled, this Ka Wu Undying Senior is bolder. I've spent 100 years on Fog Island, and have yet to meet an official level Undying. Now that I have the chance, I'll use it to draw an official to me. This is a good thing. I really want to see the difference between my Earth body and an official's. I also want to see whether my gold-horned beast can kill an official. I'll look for a random place and wait for half a month, and at most 1 month. If Boulder doesn't show, I'll return. Luo Feng said. With a flash, he flew tens of millions of kilometers, looking for a cave. He entered and began to reflect on the battle before. The battle had given him much inspiration, and honed his new 7-blade techniques. After all, these 7-blade techniques would continue to improve as his comprehension grew. Strike travel is after all something the golden horned beast uses with its wings. Even though I've learnt it, the human body doesn't do it half as well as the golden horned beast. I have to continue to refine it to suit the human body's usage. Luo Feng muttered to himself. Time passed and Luo Feng refined his techniques over and over within the cave. At this time, the official level Undying Fen Ya was drawing closer and closer using his ship. Within the quiet cave, fog engulfed the area. Luo Feng sat cross-legged. His consciousness was already connected to the virtual universe, and he was studying his blade techniques in his own training grounds. Wielding the blood shadow blade, he stood on a vast land and unleashed his blade work over and over, as countless Sector Lord Pinnacle warriors rushed from the sides, madly trying to kill him. Dutchman's pipe. Pensive. Nightmare. Illusion. Burial. Hatred. World's end. The blade flashed, tearing through space. The many Sector Lord warriors were killed and the massacre was ongoing. This is not right. It doesn't feel right. Luo Feng waved his hand and roared. Stop! The countless Sector Lords rushing over all stopped. This was after all a simulation in the virtual universe. He walked to the stopped Sector Lords and frowned as he pondered. When I battled the 12 Undyings before, I always felt that my blade work was still lacking. Also, it has not reached my current level of law comprehension limit. With a thought, he brandished the Beast God armament shield. The first form of the armament, Beast God, descends. Luo Feng unleashed it and the 999 metal flakes instantly shot out of the shield, connecting with the virtual universe simulated laws. Countless gold threads interweaved between them, forming a huge Beast God projection. Its pressure was engulfing the area. This is a true perfect technique. Luo Feng looked up at the powerful Beast God projection. Even though it was just the first form, with just 999 metal flakes forming the technique, it was perfect, and the Beast God projection had its own pressure. Perfection. When I use my blade work, it naturally melds with the Beast God projection, yet it doesn't have any of the pressure. Luo Feng shook his head. Maybe compared to my teacher Hu Yangbo, the techniques I created are already very powerful. However, compared to Shiluo Duo, these are still too raw. How can I improve and break through? Luo Feng stood there silently. Under the gaze of countless Sector Lords, he looked up at the floating Beast God projection. Breakthrough. How do I do it? My golden horned beast is proficient in close combat. Can it only rely on that one crude sky-tearing claw? Is there no absolute technique like Shiluo Duo's Beast God armament? Luo Feng gazed at the projection in the sky, trying to feel it thoroughly. Yet, it always seemed like a fog was clouding his view. Time passed. He pondered hard on how to refine his techniques and the beast's battle techniques. Actually, the golden horned beast's techniques were connected to his blade techniques. They were all considered close combat techniques. One relied on the beast's body itself and another on the blade, and the blade was considered an extension of one's body. Naturally, the two were linked. However, everything had to be created by himself. During the past 100 years, he did make some progress with his blade work. However, when battle truly ensued, he always felt his blade work still wasn't perfect enough. It wasn't capable of unleashing the strongest power of the Beast God presence. The moment it's perfected, my blade pressure will exceed the Beast God armament, because I'm creating something that fits myself. As for the beast god armament, it only fit Shiluo Duo. Luo Feng had occasionally gone hunting over the past 100 years. 99% of the time, he still spent time studying the beast god path and blade work along with battle techniques. Now, Luo Feng was immersed in this state. In the blink of an eye, 12 days had passed. Rumble. A 600 m tall pyramid ship tore through the skies and flew. Within that ship, Star-Eating Sector Lord. Star-Eating Sector Lord. The Ka Wu Undying Fen Ya, who was sitting in the alloy chair, was burning with rage. Beside him were polygon-shaped hammers. It was clear that he used the same types of weapons as the fallen Long Suo. He hasn't moved at all. The position of the item hasn't moved at all, he said solemnly. Does he know of Long Suo's connection with me? Is he afraid of my revenge? Hence he tossed it there when he found the item. If Luo Feng truly wanted to flee within the vast fog island, how could Fen Ya even begin to search for him? What's more, if Luo Feng simply moved on to the main Yangji continent, Fen Ya would have no way to look for him at all. No. No, he must be there, he must be. Fen Ya was worried and anxious within. He truly wanted to kill that despicable human and avenge his brother. He was afraid that the human would have tossed the item there and left. Then the chances of revenge would be extremely slim. The distance shrank. He must be there. Fen Ya gazed forward. Even with 100% simulation, he could only see the distant fog. Luo Feng, we've discovered a dangerous target. He's flying alone in an automaton ship and is heading towards us. After scanning his appearance, it seems like he's from the Ka Wu race. Undyings mostly move together on Fog Island. But, for him to move alone, plus the fact that you killed the Ka Wu Undying before, there's a 90% chance that this target is Boulder of the 12 officials. Barbata reported to Luo Feng. Luo Feng, who sat crossed-legged and shrouded in fog, opened his eyes. He's finally come. It'll take another hour for him to arrive. Barbata said. I've waited so long for him to finally come. Since my arrival on Fog Island 100 years ago, I've yet to fight with an official level Undying. Luo Feng nodded. I have some questions to solve about my blade work and the Golden Horned Beast's battle techniques. Maybe this will be a good chance to clarify everything. He instantly flew out of the cave and flew along the walls of the mountain, quickly reaching a quiet spot in the mountain range. There was a huge lake here. This lake on the peak had a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers. It was simply unimaginable on Earth, however, it was normal here on Fog Island. Water. Luo Feng sat by the lake, feeling the cold air around him. He extended his hand to pick up some water flowers. The bone-chilling cold instantly reached his entire body, and he felt the chill, but of course this was something he could easily withstand. So cold. But it feels good. He sat there and smiled, playing with the water. After a while. Rumble. The pyramid swiftly tore through the skies, and swiftly stopped in the air above the lake. Its high speed caused shockwaves that blew away the sand and rubble around. However, the incredibly heavy and ice-cold lake simply rippled. A fiery red armored 12-meter-tall Ka Wu Undying stepped out of the door, and the pyramid vanishing beside him. He stood in the air above the lake, a formless pressure expanding throughout, as the air around his body burned in flames that spread and covered over 10,000 kilometers in area. Weng. Luo Feng sat there playing with the water, expanding his world projection too. It clashed hard with the fire law domain, as his body was unaffected. The icy cold water suddenly began to bubble. This lake that was over 100 times larger than all the seas of Earth combined began to boil. So boring. Luo Feng stood up. Rumble. He expanded his world projection, and pushed back the fire law domain. The powerful projection completely suppressed the fire domain, and it was clear to see that the law domain was about to crumble. Humph. The official Undying Fen Ya standing over the lake snorted angrily. The seemingly normal fire domain suddenly began to change from within, almost like a group of straggling soldiers suddenly gaining order and discipline, causing the entire domain to gain more stability. The world projection clashed over and over against the fire law domain. Even though Luo Feng was still more powerful, it was unable to completely suppress the enemy. Luo Feng looked shocked at the fire domain. This was the first time someone was able to withstand his world projection alone. According to what teacher said, one can put both space and time laws into their law domains. However, those undyings would at least have to have the comprehension of the 9 universe tablets' 4th picture. Luo Feng frowned. Law domain, it's a gift of the universe laws itself. Natural law energies, when pressured, they are like straggling soldiers. However, the moment space laws are infused within, they become much stronger. Official level undyings, they are indeed much stronger than the normal generals. You are the star-eating sector lord. A thick booming voice spoke with human language. Luo Feng looked up at him. You are bolder. Ha ha, it's really you. Fen Ya's voice rumbled. My guess was right, you knew long ago I would be coming. Right? Luo Feng nodded. You've got guts. Fen Ya said seriously. You killed my tribe brother and guessed I would be coming, yet you dared to stay with the item I gave him. Should I thank you, or laugh at your stupidity? HMPH, you've made me use effort to come and search for you, I'll make your death thrilling. Luo Feng flipped his hand and brandished his blood shadow blade as well as the 6-edged shield. A shield and a blade. Both of their world projection and law domain clashed again. Even though Luo Feng's projection had the advantage, it didn't affect the battle too much. I've waited here for 12 days just for you. You sure are slow, I hope you don't disappoint me. A black armor appeared over Luo Feng's entire body. This battle would be the first time he got to truly fight against an official level undying. He couldn't help but itch in anticipation. I won't disappoint you. Fen Ya gazed down at the tiny dot, both hands wielding green hammers. The surrounding areas were burning in glaring flames. Fog Island's 13 tyrants. Star-eating sector lord against Boulder, the two of them clashed. Strike travel. Luo Feng's eyes suddenly gleamed as he flashed, instantly leaving 3 winding orbits. It was almost like lightning as his speed reached a terrifying level. A glaring light simultaneously lit up with his blade. Go and die. Fen Ya roared too. The battle began instantly. The burning hammer waved about and broke through the space itself. In front of the official level undying Fen Ya, the space itself was too brittle. Hence, the huge hammer rushed straight at Luo Feng through the countless space fragments. A resplendent blade flashed. As it flashed, a huge tear in space occurred. I want to see just how strong an official level undying is. Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and clashed head-on with the hammer. Rumble. The space fragments warped as the powerful force of the shockwave rippled to tens of thousands of kilometers, dispersing all the boiling water up. It seemed like a giant was moving the lake itself. Ha ha ha. Fen Ya laughed as he stepped through, every step closing in tens of thousands of kilometers, as he swung another fiery hammer. Luo Feng, however, was knocked hundreds of thousands kilometers away from the clash earlier. His body had gone numb from the shock, and his internal organs were damaged as he spit out blood, after which he flashed and stood far at the tip of the mountain. He was gazing down at Fen Ya, who was rushing at him. What a terrifying force. I could withstand 8 generals at the same time without being so fatigued. Luo Feng gazed down at the fiery giant rushing at him. The inherited memories were right, the Ka-Wu body advantage is indeed huge. This Fen Ya's law comprehension is only around a basic official level, but his body is already at a high official level. As for that hammer, I cannot withstand it. Fen Ya took large strides to come over. Human. Fen Ya's voice pierced through the space. To be able to survive my attack at Sector Lord level, I respect you. But it's a pity that I have to kill you, time to die. Idiot. Luo Feng snorted coldly. He unleashed his strike travel movement. He simply wanted to test his opponent's strength earlier. Now that he had a grasp of their strengths, he naturally wouldn't go clash head-on again. This Fen Yue was obviously weaker in technique, but his undying body was incredibly strong. 3 blurry silhouettes flashed, and Luo Feng appeared suddenly behind Fen Yue. Dutchman's pipe. His blade flashed, it was beautiful and terrifying. Humph! Fen Yue used the hammer in his right hand and swung it around. The space around it crumbled, it was almost like a road roller going past a little path. The 3 silhouettes flashed, and Luo Feng appeared at his other side. Another flash, and he appeared in front of Fen Yue. Another flash, and he was behind him. Amidst his mad movement, the blood shadow blade broke through the defense of the hammer, slashing at Fen Yue's side. The blade seemed to cut at the incredibly solid material, but only cutting about half a meter deep in, which was not even a fifth of his hip. There, the blade got stuck and was unable to go deeper. What a solid body. His strength alone is ridiculous, his body is also super solid. Luo Feng's expression changed. Normally, flesh and blood life forms that were able to unleash the same amount of power would naturally still be weaker in terms of how sturdy their body was compared to the rock life forms. And these flesh and blood life forms normally had scales, muscles and so on for defense. The moment it reached past that, the body was soft and weak. The rock life forms, however, were completely different. They were naturally adept at defense. Much less Fen Yue. In terms of strength, he was at a high official level, however in terms of body sturdiness, he was at least 7 to 8 times stronger than that of a high official. Ha ha! Fen Yue looked at Luo Feng and swung his hammer at Luo Feng's head. Luo Feng swiftly retreated. While he retreated, he used his blade to defend against the heavy hammer. Luckily, he was fast enough, allowing only 30% of the hammer force to go through. Even with just that, Luo Feng felt his blood boil within, but didn't have to spit any blood out. Star-eating sector lord, you are incredibly fast. Fen Yue took a stride over and continued to attack. Speed is an advantage too. Luo Feng snorted coldly. He flashed again. In an instant, the entire mountain range was going through a disaster. As the two of them passed by, countless amounts of rubble broke apart and the peak collapsed, the universe space crumbling over and over. Both of them had completely different styles. Fen Yue was strong and sturdy, his body was a stone fortress, however his law comprehension was weaker, and his nimbleness and flexibility were weaker than Luo Feng's. Luo Feng relied on the soldier armor to raise his strength to roughly an official's level. However, with his close to emperor-level beast god presence and with his strike travel, he could suppress his enemies. In terms of speed and flexibility, Fen Yue could never catch up to him. Luo Feng flashed over and over, appearing at different spots, and unleashing his cold blade attacks against Fen Yue. Fighting with a strong warrior sure is different. Under the barrage of heavy fiery hammers over and over, Luo Feng's movement and blade work were both pushed to their limits. As the enemy pressured him, he once again unleashed his strongest moves, slowly refining them further during the battle. As time passed, Luo Feng was initially forced to block some attacks and take some hits. However, as his movement got more and more refined and he grew more accustomed to how to deal with the attacks, he began to use his blade to affect the flow of the hammers themselves while he dodged. Fen Yue was no longer able to attack him. Fen Yue stood on the mountain ridge and roared loudly. It was obvious that he was frustrated. When Luo Feng slashed at him, he didn't even block. He immediately used his hammer to attack Luo Feng. Human, go and die. Fen Yue howled enraged. He no longer cared about Luo Feng's blade and attacks. His eyes were fixed on Luo Feng alone as he swung his heavy hammer, his 2 huge arms were waving about. It almost felt like attacks were coming in from all directions. Luo Feng realized that the situation had worsened. When he attacked before, Fen Yue would do his best to defend with his hammers. With attack and defense, the pressure on Luo Feng wasn't too huge. Now, however, Fen Yue had lost it. He no longer cared about the attacks, and he focused solely on offense as he swung the 2 fiery hammers at Luo Feng. Attack. All-out attack. Luo Feng felt like the skies were crashing down on him with the two fiery hammers that were at least a few times bigger than him. Rumble. He accidentally got hit. He was instantly knocked tens of thousands of kilometers away, smashing into the mountain, creating a hole in it. Luo Feng rushed out quickly. Rumble. Countless hammer images madly poured down as Luo Feng was knocked back again. Fresh blood spewed out. Knocked over and over. Over and over. Luo Feng was like a tragic suicide scene. For him to attack Fen Yue, he'd have to get close to him, and when he got close, he would naturally be attacked by the two fiery hammers. Fen Yue didn't even care about being attacked, he simply just swung his hammers madly. Unless Luo Feng chose to retreat, he would simply just become a target. Even with his fast movement, against the lightning-fast mad hammers, he'd avoid them 7 to 8 times, but would eventually still get hit once in a while. Damn. Luo Feng's body was numb. He lay on the mountain peak, spitting out fresh blood. I can't fight anymore. Fen Yue's body is too sturdy, it's like AF grade metal. Even if it isn't at F9 grade, it's still at least at F3 grade. My blade cannot slash through and he doesn't even need to care about my attacks. He only needs to hit me. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. The fiery giant took large stride past the space and appeared before him. Human. Fen Yue roared. He was shocked as he saw Luo Feng simply lying there. Had he given up? Howl. A terrifying howl resounded from the mountain range. The formless pressure spread past the surrounding 100,000 kilometer. Even the fiery stone giant changed his expression, quickly turning to the side. He saw an incredibly huge silhouette rise gradually from the mountain. It was over 100 kilometers in length, and its body was covered in silver scales, which were filled with beauty. Silver scales, with 4 silver-strong limbs, along with a silver-scale tail, and an incredibly glaring pair of huge scaled wings. This was a completely silver-colored peculiar beast, which had dark gold eyes and a peculiar silver crown on its head. The crown, its 4 limbs, scaled tail and huge scaled wings. In terms of body, these together made the golden horned beast look bigger than it was. The powerful pressure spread throughout, even the official Fen Yue felt fear within. What's this? What life form is this? In terms of size, it should be a space beast. The demon race isn't that big. The flaming giant looked at the sudden appearance of the beast and was completely shocked. He saw the very calm human on the mountain peak beside him. This human has the strength to match an official Undying. He's definitely a genius of humanity. This mysterious beast, is this his tamed beast? His sole slave? Or, it's a guardian arranged from his teacher. It's very likely that his teacher is some huge being that arranged a guardian for him. Simply relying on his own power shouldn't be enough to tame such a terrifying being. The sudden appearance of the silver beast made Fen Yue completely ignore Luo Feng. Fen Yue felt pressure. To the point where he didn't even know what beast this was. Completely silver-scaled. Such terrifying pressure. It seemed unlike any of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beasts. Howl. The beast howled again, its dark gold eyes were staring at Fen Yue. It unleashed its killing intent. Luo Feng stood on the peak beside, gazing at Fen Yue and muttering to himself, I don't believe that if I unleash beast god transformation, deities of the world, blood river energy, combined with the general armor and mysterious showy wings, I don't believe that this rock giant can take a fully unleashed golden horned beast. Part 2 end here.